And we are live here on the Sportsbook Junkies podcast. I am your host, Zachary Keebler. And today I'm without my co-hosts, Kev and Nate, but it's all right. We're going to get through it. Everything should be fine. Just want to start out by saying the Phillies game is on. So if you have any live bets or anything like that, drop them in the comments, and then we can root for them together. That being said, I do have a bet on the Braves game that's on right now. Not looking too hot, just because I had Braves money line and now the Phillies are up 3-0. But it was Braves money line, Acuna to hit a home run, Ozzy Albies over 1.5 total bases, and Max Fried over 4.5 strikeouts. But anyways, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're mainly here to talk about the Monday Night Football game happening between the Packers and the Raiders. I just recently was able to get in contact with someone about buying tickets for the Giants-Packers game on Monday Night Football, December 11th. So I'm very excited for that. But now we got to hit some bets to pay off those tickets. So with that being said, the one lock that I feel like should be a lock is going to be Jordan Love over 200 passing yards, Josh Jacobs over 50 rushing yards, Christian Watson 25 plus receiving yards, Romeo Doubs 25 plus receiving yards. He's been hot recently. When it comes down to bets that you want to make, it's going to be between him and Christian Watson. I don't think there's really any debate there. It's pretty consensus. In his revenge game, as you can see that I have down below, I have Davante Adams scoring a touchdown, especially against the Packers secondary that hasn't looked the greatest, but it hasn't looked terrible by any means. And then I got Jordan Love over 1.5 passing touchdowns. The reason I have that is because the Raiders' defense outside of Max Crosby is kind of torched. They have not looked good this year, giving up a plethora of points to several different teams. And with that being said, I think that is probably the best bet that I have. I have a couple like lotto tickets, I like to call them, and I can read a couple of those off. But my main thing is I'm taking the Packers as an underdog for tonight's game against the Raiders. Plain and simple, the Packers have looked very good. The Raiders have looked very bad. They're still not the worst team in that division, but they're pretty close to it. They finally have Jimmy G back off the injury list, so that's good for them that they finally have like their quarterback that they paid for. But I don't see much really changing that much. But I'm going with the Packers here. Jordan Love has looked spectacular, and that's where I'm going with that. The first bet I made for today is going to be the Packers money line, Jordan Love over 1.5 passing touchdowns, Aaron Jones, who I believe is out for tonight's game, so they're going to be going to A.J. Dillon, so he's going to get avoided. Davante Adams over 77.5 receiving yards, Romeo Doubs over 46.5 receiving yards, and then Christian Watson over 43.5 receiving yards. That's $5 to pay out $135. However, since Aaron Jones is getting voided, that's going to go down a little, probably closer to $100. But yeah, I'm excited for tonight's game for sure. It's definitely going to be – I would definitely lean the over in this game. The two defenses haven't been completely great. And like I said, Davante revenge game is going to play a huge factor in this. Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs are going to be competitive for touches, so they should be going off when they get the chance for each other. A.J. Dillon, who has not been great at running the ball, I think against this Raiders defense will have an easier time running the ball. And aside from that, that's basically all I have for these games. Like I have 5 bets for tonight's game, but it's like it's all made up of the same stuff. Like Christian Watson receiving yards, Davante receiving yards, Davante touchdown, Romeo Doubs receiving yards, Josh Jacobs receiving yards, Christian Watson receptions, Romeo Doubs receptions, Daniel Carlson field goals. Um, I feel like it's basically what everyone's going with, and it just comes down to your parlays of whether you trust the Raiders to bounce back against this Packers team, against Jordan Love, who's only really faced one truly good team so far this year, or if you want to ride the wave of going with the Packers. That's basically what it comes down to. So I'm going to lock in with my guy, Jordan Love. I think he's looked good, except for that one game, again, when he played like a really good team, but the Raiders just aren't that. So I'm more likely to go in the Raiders on that. With that being said, there's also the Dodgers game tonight for MLB, where you have Zach Gallen against Brad Miller. I really hope I got his name right. It's either Bobby or Brad. Bobby. Sorry. Bobby Miller. The Dodgers just looked terrible last game, like plain and simple. I took a live line of Diamondbacks -9.5 that game. And then they were up like 11-0, and I'm like, oh, this is going to catch easy. They won by 9. So bad beat there. But speaking of bad beats, I had Nate send me his bad beat from this weekend, which I'm sure a lot of people might know where this is going if you watched the last episode when it came to college football. He had an 18-leg parlay, and his legs were Ohio State, Toledo, Mississippi State, LSU, NC State, Clemson, UNC, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Oregon State, USC, Colts, Bengals, and Lions. All of those hit, right? He has 17 out of 18. Shouldn't really be sweating this too much until you realize that he had the Miami Hurricanes money line in a game where they refused to kneel the ball, turned it over on a fumble, and lost the game on that, on a fumble 6. Or no, it wasn't a fumble 6. They got the ball back, and then I think it was a pass play. And the guy, I didn't watch it, but I saw the highlight on Instagram. So that would have been $25 to win 1,348, but he ended up losing on a very, very, very bad beat. I can't say I've ever come close to hitting an 18-leg parlay. So, Nate, if you're watching, shout out to you for being so close to hitting that. But speaking of Nate, he's sick tonight, so he's not going to be able to join me on the show. But he wanted me to give you guys his parlay of the night for the Monday Night Football game. So that's going to be Jordan Love over 200 passing yards, Jordan Love 2+ passing touchdowns, Christian Watson over 48.5 receiving yards, Davante Adams over 80.5 receiving yards, Jacoby Myers over 40 receiving yards, Luke Musgrave under 30.5 receiving yards, Christian Watson to score a touchdown, and Davante Adams to score a touchdown. And the odds on that are plus 5,015. So $100 to win 5,015. $10 to win 501.5, and $1 to win 50.15. So that's what he's got riding tonight. I sent him one that I had that was very similar, where it was Christian Watson, 50+ receiving yards, Davante, 75+ receiving yards, Doubs, 25+, Josh Jacobs, 25+, Davante Adams, longest reception, over 24.5 yards, Christian Watson, over 3.5 total receptions, Doubs, over 3.5 total receptions, and Daniel Carlson to over 1.5 field goals. Daniel Carlson has not had 2 or more field goals made in a game this year, but if the Packers defense decides to make this a tricky game, I feel like that is definitely a line that I'm comfortable with taking, and that I did take at, I think that was was that plus 3,000? No, I think I added like 2 more legs, and I made it plus 3,000. But we're going to move on to look at some of the Thursday night props, if they have any out. I haven't gotten to take a look at it yet. I also might touch on the Dodgers game that's later tonight. But on Thursday night, we have a game between the Chiefs and the Broncos in Kansas City, which is going to be an onslaught. Just simply put, in my opinion, even with the upside that the Broncos have with the offensive pieces that they have in Marvin Mims, Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, Russell Wilson, what is it, Javonte Williams, right? They're a good offense, and they almost got it against the Jets, but this Chiefs team is just different, both in the offensive firepower that they have against a team like the Broncos defense, which has two very solid pieces in Pat Surtain and Justin Simmons. But outside of that, you're not really having too much on that defense. The Chiefs spread is minus 10.5. I would probably alt that down just in case that Kelsey injury is more serious than people think it might be. I would probably bump that down to minus 6.5, so that way it gives them a touchdown flexibility. Money line, it's minus 600 if you're throwing it in a parlay, sure, but I'm not taking that outright. That's $600 to make $100. Not really worth it in case the Broncos finally decide that they want to click. They do have some props out though, in terms of first touchdown score and players to score a touchdown. If he's healthy, obviously, the person I go with to score one every time. What up, Nate? The person to score a touchdown every game that he plays, I always take Travis Kelce because he's basically a wide receiver one, but in a tight end's body. I could like Javonte Williams here against that Chiefs line that's only highlighted by Chris Jones. I feel like that could be a good play. The Chiefs secondary isn't the greatest, but again, against the Broncos team, I feel like that'll be fine. Outside of that, yeah, I would probably alt the Chiefs line down, throw that in a parlay, and then go with those two guys to score a touchdown. That being said, I would probably also take Travis Kelce's yards if he's healthy. Oh, wait. Okay, Davante Adams is playing tonight. That was scary for me, especially because he's my wide receiver one on my fantasy team. I don't really watch. I just got a notification from the NHL. I don't really watch the NHL, so that's why I do not give picks on that. But apparently, it's opening night, so that'll be exciting for anyone who's an NHL fan. That being said, I feel like I'm going really fast just because I don't have my two co-hosts here to elaborate, but it's fine. We might just cut it short today after I get through these Sunday picks. But again, we're going to go to the Sunday picks. So we have the Ravens and the Titans. The Ravens are -3 against the Titans. The Titans are the home team. I know who James will be rooting for, but I also know who Skinny D will be rooting for. And that's going to be the Ravens, and that's who I'm going to take at -3. The Titans have just looked flat this year, plain and simple. A team where I thought that they were going to have a lot of high upside because of that defense. But when you have Lamar, who's an MVP candidate this year, in my opinion, you want to put your trust in him, especially with the weapons he has around him. Like Nate says in the comments, Ravens -3 is a lock, and that's where I'm going to go with that. The over-under is 40. I might take the under on that, especially if the Ravens defense is clicking like we've seen it. So that's one to play by ear, again, about any injuries as well. We have the Vikings and the Bears. I think that this is a game, even though it's on the road, for the Vikings to get back on track. Again, they're -3. I would probably take it. The Bears have looked very good, though, and the Vikings I take that back. I don't know who I'm picking for this game. The Vikings' defenses look terrible. The Bears have clicked the past 2 games. They're at home, and they're the underdog. I don't know. I'm probably going to go. I'm going to go with the underdog here. I'm going to go with the Bears at home. We're going to definitely see how that works out. And if they win, Don't say I didn't tell you so. Justin Fields looked amazing last game. DJ Moore tore up that defense. So we'll go with there. The Commanders and the Falcons. I'm picking a tie, so John and Nate can't get mad at me. That's fair. That's very fair. I think I'm just gonna go with the Bears. That way, I can also talk to John on the Necessary Roughness tomorrow at 9 p.m. on Bite Size Network, 8 Central. But yeah, I'm probably gonna go with the Bears just so I can poke fun at John too tomorrow. Commanders Falcons. The Commanders are the underdogs. I don't see why that is, even though the Falcons are at home. Take the Commanders. Take them on the money line too at plus 115. I feel like that's fairly obvious. Not really too much to say there. Saints and Texans. I got those parlays locked in for tonight. I'm also happy to be on beat. Yeah, that's exactly where I'm going with it. The Raiders secondary is torched, and Jordan Love's looked really good. So I trust Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs enough with the heater that they've been on to get to their spot. You know what I'm saying? But then we have the Saints and the Texans. I'm going to rock with the Saints at minus 1.5. They need to get clicking. They have Kamara back. They have a good defense. They have the weapons that they need. The Texans didn't look great last game. They're at home, but I'm probably going to rock with the Saints minus 1.5. We have the Colts and the Jags. I'm going to give a hot take here. Especially it's hot because they just beat the Bills. But I'm going to rock with the Colts, and I'm going to alt it to plus 7.5. I feel like it also depends on the status of Anthony Richardson. So let me hold off on giving my opinion for that, actually. It depends on their health with their quarterback, who's looked very good in the time that he's played. I'm going to hold off if he's healthy, plus 7.5. Yes, Gardner. Why did I just say yes? Gardner Minshew revenge game. That is true. But again, JT didn't look great in his return. He'll get clicking again, definitely, against our Jaguars run defense. But we're gonna play it by ear. Kev is a big Colts guy, so as you guys know from watching, I'm probably gonna rock with them at plus 7.5. I think that's fair to say. The best team in the NFL is on the road against the Cleveland Browns, that being the San Francisco 49ers. I'm taking the 49ers minus 5 all day, and I'm not going to sweat it at all. Kev's leaning Colts due to the Jags traveling back to yeah, exactly. That's also going to take a big toll on them as well. I'm going to go with the 49ers minus 5, and I'm not even going to sweat it. The Browns just haven't looked great. They lost their running back, arguably one of the greatest running backs ever played the game, statistically. Deshaun's been hurt, correct? So, yeah, it's just we saw the 49ers just absolutely dismantle the Cowboys like 42-10, I think that game was. I'm going 49ers minus 5. I'm not even thinking about anything else. The Dolphins and the Panthers. I'm taking the Dolphins minus 13.5 at home against a team who is right there with my Giants amongst being one of the worst teams in the league. They're really not terrible, but they have the injury bug on defense. If they had all their key defensive pieces, I think that they do much better than they are right now. But they're still not there with the Dolphins, with an MVP candidate in Tua, Tyreek, Jalen Waddle, a chain. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. And Raheem Mostert. So I'm going to go with them minus 13.5. Maybe the Panthers could shock me, but the Dolphins money line is minus 900. Never bet on a team if they're money. Never take a money line if it's more than like minus 300 unless you're throwing it in a parlay. So I'm not really going to elaborate on that one. I'm going to go to the Seahawks and Bengals game. The Bengals look good. Burrow finally started hitting Jamar Chase after Jamar was like, I'm always fucking open, and then went for 15 receptions, 3 touchdowns, and a shit ton of yards. So can the Seahawks pass defense do what they were doing to my Giants? Absolutely. But the Bengals also have much better weapons and a better defense. So I'm probably going to rock with the Bengals money line here at home at minus 145. Sorry, I'm kind of flying through these, but we're going to go Patriots Raiders. The Raiders are -3 at home. I'm probably going to alt the Patriots up to +7.5 just for the value that could bring in a parlay. It's going to be very low scoring. I would lean on the under 42.5 for that game. But yeah, it's just going to be two teams that have been very bad. Mac Jones is finally getting benched, I think. It's going to be interesting, but I think it's going to be low scoring for sure. So I would take the under 42.5 there. Cardinals, Rams. I'm going to go with the Rams here. I would alt their -6.5 to -2.5 just in case the Cardinals come out hot like they were in the first half of the Giants game, the Cowboys game. And they've been pretty good all year. Dobbs has looked like a very solid quarterback. So I would probably lean there at the Rams -2.5 instead of -6.5. Also, if you want an app to alt all of these spreads that I'm talking about and not have to worry, download the Caesars Sportsbook. The link is in my bio. This isn't sponsored. This is just me going with the app that I use personally. So sign up there. Gamble responsibly, obviously. But yeah, I'm taking the Rams -2.5 on that spread. For the Lions and Bucks, I mean, I really don't know. The Lions are -3. My gut is telling me Lions -3, obviously, because they're a better team. But the Bucks at home, the Bucks have looked decent this year, and it's like they shouldn't be, but they are. And the Lions team not finally, but they have the injury bug there. I'm probably gonna lean on that. I'd probably go more for the money line, just in case. It's -170. It doesn't hurt to have that flexibility there. But sorry, I'm just seeing my friends thing. He just sent me a parlay that he wanted me to look at. But yeah, I'd probably go Detroit on the money line there. For Sunday at 4:25, Eagles and Jets. I feel like that Eagles defense is going to pick apart Zach Wilson and read him like a book. Not really any discredit to him, but I am going to go with the Eagles on the they're -6.5. I would probably alt them maybe to -3.5. I feel like the 6.5 is very fair, especially with the offensive firepower that they have. Yeah, I'd probably go with that -6.5 if you want value, but if you want a little less value, I would go with the -2.5 or -3.5, again, to have that flexibility. That being said, my Giants cannot catch a break with our schedule. We play the Bills in Orchard Park. It's not going to be good. The Bills are -14. The Dolphins just beat us by 15. I would alt the Bills down to -10.5 or -9.5, whichever one you feel more comfortable with. But it's not looking good for our season, and it's a night game. We're gonna be the only game on. Just take the Bills. Just take the Bills. Whatever you're gonna do. I don't want to give out Monday's picks yet because next Monday, because that's like a week from now and we don't know what's going to happen, especially with that Chargers offense that's been injury riddled against the Cowboys. So we're going to save that for now. But yeah, the Giants are not looking good, and I hate betting against them, but we're playing teams that I can't help but bet against them with. The Bills, not the Eagles, the Dolphins, the 49ers. It's just our schedule has been so rough and we're playing such a piss poor performance. If you want to take the Giants +600, be my guess, but it's going to be a donation for sure. But yeah, no, I'm taking the Bills minus probably my heart's telling me not to, but I think. But then on the flip side, it's like Dable just coached them. He's 2 seasons removed. Like this is his second season removed. He's gonna know their scheme. He's gonna know what they bring to the table. I would just alt the Bills to -9.5 and call it a day. Have that little safety flex. Um, that being said, I'm just looking at the MLB slate as well. The Braves aren't looking too hot right now. They're plus 260 live money line, but the Phillies are just a team built for the playoffs. The Braves, although they had sustained success in the regular season, I feel like they're going to lose this series just because when a wild card team's hot, they stay hot. They don't take that long break between the regular season and the postseason and have your bats cool off. You're just constantly going and going. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Phillies even sweep them if they win tonight. But that being said, with the Diamondbacks Dodgers game tonight, I'm just looking at what's available to bet on. I'm gonna build one for you guys right here so you can get my process. I'm gonna take Gallen over 4.5 strikeouts. And just for the value for what they did last game against a better pitcher than what the Dodgers have tonight, I'm going to take the Diamondbacks money line. Again, they've been hot from the wild card, so I'm just going to ride that pause. I don't like betting home runs because they're so rare. I mean, they're not rare, but it's so hard to tell who's going to have the hot bat that day. I'm looking for combos, which they might not have on here. Because you can do like hits plus RBIs plus runs, right? There's some books that offer that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna go total bases. I'm gonna look. It basically comes down to who you think's gonna get a single. And Tommy Pham's been hot recently too. Shout out Mets legend Tommy Pham. I'll take him over 0.5 total bases, which means he just has to get a single, and I feel like that's definitely doable. The over-under for this game is at 7.5. Gallen is a Cy Young candidate. Bobby Miller's not a scrub. Diamondbacks bats are hot. I might avoid that for now. If I'm going total hits, I just need to pick someone to get a hit. We'll go with Will Smith, and then we'll just do that as 4 legs at plus 650 odds. I'm going to throw $5 on it if it'll let me. Sometimes the app glitches out and shows you like that. So now I got to go back and rebuild that. So if anyone's in here, can you just help me out and then type what I said while I load back into it? I think it was Miller. No, it was Gallen over 4.5, right? Total bases. Tommy Pham to get a single. And then it was Diamondbacks money line, and then a hit from Will Smith. Yep, that's what it was. I have $15 in my account to play with, so I'm going to throw $5 on that to return $37.50 total, so $32.50 profit. So that's what I'm going to rock with tonight. If anyone tails me in the comments, make sure to let me know. I'm seeing some really good value here in Packers money line. Christian Watson 50 plus, Romeo Doubs 50 plus, and Jaden Reed 25 plus. But while I got you guys here, I'm just gonna build one more NFL one. I'm just gonna hedge it this time, and I'm gonna take Raiders money line just in case. I'm still gonna go Jordan Love over the 1.5. I'm gonna lean on Jordan Love. It makes no sense to bet Jordan Love if I'm betting Raiders, though. That's where the contradictory part comes in. Okay, so I'm going to do Davante to score a touchdown, and I'm going to do Doubs to score a touchdown just because they're going to ride that hot hand that he's had recently. I'm going to go to receiving yards, and I'm going to alternate it and go Davante over 75. If I'm going to do that for Doubs, I'm going to take him over that 50 mark. Total receptions, I'm going to put Doubs at over 3.5. I think it's just going to be a Doubs day, realistically. If we're going to look defensively at defensive tackles plus assists, I'm going to go with Max Crosby at over 3.5, just to do it that way. And that would be a six-legger at plus 180 or plus 1,800 odds. So Davante to score a touchdown, Doubs to score a touchdown, Davante over 75, Doubs over 50, Doubs over 3.5 receptions, Max Crosby total defensive tackles plus assists over 3.5. And then we're going to put $10 on that. Nope, I don't have $100 in my account. There we go. Place that, and boom. So just so you guys know, I'm not capping. It's right there, placed, and all set to go. So since I'm by myself, I'm probably going to cut it short there. I kind of flew through everything that we had. So I apologize for that. But with that being said, you can find me over on Twitter and Instagram at the Nick Stop right there. You can also find me here Mondays at 7, which we might be changing. I will let you guys know once I get that confirmation 100%. You can find me on Necessary Roughness at 9 p.m. on Tuesdays Eastern Time. So tomorrow. And then Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on The Bounce with Kev and James. Necessary Roughness is with Nick and John. And then that's basically all I have. Make sure to get those bets in. If you guys are tailing anything, let me know down below in the Discord. The invite link is in the description. And that is just about it. So thank you for tuning in. Have a great night. Stay safe. And hopefully all of your guys' bets hit, even if you're betting against what I have.